In this movie, I'll show you how to customize the checkerboard pattern so that you can better distinguish transparency from opacity inside Photoshop. So the first thing you want to do is go up to the Edit menu. That'll be the Photoshop menu on the Mac. And then drop down to the Preferences command, which isn't nearly this low in the menu on the Mac. And then finally choose Transparency and Gamut. And you'll see these checkerboard options up here at the top of the screen. Now, you can dial in a custom color if you like, just by clicking on one of these swatches. So one swatch is one set of checkers and the other swatch is the other one. So for example, I could click on the white one and drag the circle around inside the color field all the way up to the upper right corner if I want red, and then I could click OK, and now I'll see this red and gray pattern at work in the background, which is a little garish, but at least it's obvious. Now, you also have the option of changing the grid size, so you can make it larger if you want to, and again, that's going to update on the fly in the background. Or you can go with small if you want tiny checkers. You can even choose none, although that's going to give you a white background, which is pretty deceptive. For my part, I'm going to stick with medium. And rather than having any colors associated with my checkerboard, I'll go ahead and click on this custom option right there, and I'll switch from light, which is the default setting, to medium, which has the advantage of standing out nicely against white or black layers. However, I find this much contrast between the checkers to be a little bit distracting. So what I do is I click on this second swatch right there, the darker gray, and I go ahead and take its brightness value, B, up to 54%, like so, and then click OK. And now we have just enough contrast to tell what's going on. At which point, I'll go ahead and click OK in order to accept that change. Now notice that while the checkerboard updated here inside the image window, it didn't update inside the thumbnail. And if you see that happening, all you have to do is turn a layer off and then turn it back on. And notice that goes ahead and updates the thumbnail to reflect your customized checkerboard. And finally, because this is a preference setting, it doesn't actually get saved until you go up to the File menu and choose the Exit command. That would be the Quit command on the Mac. So in other words, if I were to crash at this point in time, I would lose that modification. So as tempting as it is never to quit Photoshop, it's sometimes a good idea to do so every once in a while just to make sure you update any modified preferences. Now, the last thing I want to do is move this horse back in place. I don't really want him down and to the left the way he is. So as you can see, I still have the Move tool active, at which point I'll just go ahead and drag him up to the upper right corner. And notice those magenta lines. Those are Photoshop Smart Guides, and they're telling us that the horse is aligned exactly to the boundaries of the canvas, at which point I'll go ahead and release to cover all areas of transparency. And that's how you customize the checkerboard pattern that represents areas of transparency inside of a layered composition here inside Photoshop.